We're less than 24 hours away till Tennessee baseball takes the field tomorrow night in Arlington. Three big games coming up this weekend against Big 12 opponents. I'm going to preview these right after this introduction. Happy Thursday. Once again, this is Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel coming at you. Let's get into this weekend as Tennessee baseball takes the field tomorrow night against Texas Tech, Saturday night against Oklahoma, and Sunday against Baylor. But before I get into that, make sure you like this thing, share it, subscribe, all those good things. And then tomorrow night, right after the baseball game, I'm going to go live on this thing. We're going to test out the waters, see how it goes, and we'll go from there as far as Saturday and Sunday goes. If it goes good tomorrow night, maybe I'll look at it again on the weekend. If it doesn't, then maybe we just wait till later on with it. But it's time to test the waters, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited for Tennessee baseball. And tomorrow night's the game I'm looking at circled on the calendar is Texas Tech's ranked, depending on the poll, 18th, 21st coming in. And just looking at their lineup, they've got some players coming back from last year. And tomorrow night's starter for Texas Tech is Kyle Robinson, who he had a 5.36 ERA last year. And you're thinking, well, hey, that should come in pretty good. But he was all Big 12 conference team, all Big 12 conference tournament team, as he had a real good outing there. And then he pitched against Florida in the regional and had a good outing where he gave up only 2 runs in 5 innings. So it was a guy who, although he had that 5.36 ERA, he only gave up 4 home runs last year. His strikeout average was right at about a strikeout per inning. So something with his numbers to me just didn't add up because it seemed like they weren't that bad. I was expecting a high a high home run total, but it wasn't. Walks didn't seem really out of the ordinary. So I don't know. I mean, it may just be a guy that they just base hitting a lot, as he did give up around 27 earned runs in 45 innings. So, what's his stuff going to be like? Again, don't know much about the guy. He's a big guy, 6'6", 210 out of Vienna, Virginia. So he's got some size. That leads me, and most guys now throw up in the 90s. So I don't think it's, any shock when you see a guy throwing that. Now you start hitting triple digits. That's a whole other level right there. But, what kind of success can Tennessee have against Robinson tomorrow night? Is he the guy who ended the year, or is he a guy who was maybe earlier in the year the way he pitched last year? And, kind of like the same with a Drew Beam, for example. Drew Beam was up and down to start the year. And then, toward tournament time, I really thought he was definitely Tennessee's best rotation guy. And, Burns was arguably their best pitcher. But, I mean, Burns gets a lot of credit for the last couple games. But Burns had a rough year. The one time I saw Chase Burns in person last year was the last series of the year against South Carolina on the last day of doubleheader. And he got lit up. He got flat out lit up. And then in the regional against Clemson, I mean, he pitched well. He come in for Dolander and bailed him out, but he still gave up some runs. So, I mean, it's, there was a case to be made that Drew Beam was Tennessee's best pitcher at the end of the year. I really think he was. He pitched very good in Charlotte against the clinching game. And then, again, he wrapped up against Southern Miss. He clinched that one and won it. And then against LSU, I mean, he just didn't get the run support. He did his job. So, I mean, is this a similar thing? I'm excited to see this lineup. Now, I've talked about it on numerous recordings, numerous videos at this point. This is going to be a deep lineup, and that lineup you see tomorrow night won't necessarily be the lineup you see every night or every weekend. They're going to catch Cal Stark more than likely with Cannon Peoples DHing. You'll probably see Peebles catch Saturday night with someone else DHing, whether it's Villeneuve or Bargo. That's what I expect to see. And then, do they rotate outfielders any? once you get some of your middle infielders healthy. Christian Moore is going to be in. What do they do with Lowry will start tomorrow night. When you start getting Curley and Antigua and even Alex Perry healthy, how does Tony Vitello decide to go with those? And, Billy Amick, Blake Burke, they're going to be in the lineup each game. Inslee's going to be in. Do they place a Reese Chapman some to give Dreiling or Tiers the days off? And, what the lineup you see tomorrow night and this weekend, I do expect it'll change a lot come SEC play, which is going to be a little ways away. But Texas Tech, man, I was looking at their roster and their stats from last year is who they have coming back. And they have some guys that, if Tennessee takes for granted tomorrow night, will make them pay. Gavin Cash last year for Texas Tech had 327 average, 26 home runs, 84 RBIs. That's impressive. Kevin Basil, I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it, was 348. Nolan Hester, 361. They had some good averages. And they had 4 guys there, Austin Green, Hudson White, Cash, and Basil, all double-digit home runs. One thing I like is they don't have a lot of stolen base guys returning. They were only 28 of 36 on guys coming back from last year. So that's something that a lot of times with Tennessee concerns me, because you get that, that kind of game changer on the bases. That with the way Tennessee does, and I've seen people say they don't worry that much about the runner. I don't know that that's true or not, but Tennessee does have some guys who have some slower deliveries throwing out of the stretch sometimes. And that's going to be interesting to see. And that's going to bring me my point about Saturday night when we get to that here in just a minute. But this should be an interesting game tomorrow. And I'm curious to see how A.J. Russell does against this lineup for Texas Tech, because I expect it to be a good lineup. And then the last time these two teams played were back in 2020 in Texas in one of the kind of your preseason type tournament deals. And Texas Tech was ranked number 1 and Tennessee beat them. And so 1-2 lifetime against Texas Tech. That was Tennessee's 1 win against them. Hopefully they get that even tomorrow night. That's going to be a fun game to watch. And again, Flow Sports, I don't see anything about it being on the Rangers YouTube or anything. So go have to go watch the game tomorrow night. You're going to have to pony up some money. Now, I did hear him say, or did read that it'll be on UT Sports with John Wilkerson on the call. So that'll be good to listen to as well. But so fun game tomorrow night. And then Saturday night, I feel like you're getting a totally different team with Oklahoma. And I was looking at them from last year. They didn't have a lot of power, but they still a lot of bases. And that was what stood out to me about Oklahoma. And ironically enough, the guy who's slated to start for Oklahoma Saturday night, Brendan Girton, transferred from Texas Tech. So I don't, on the Oklahoma website, I don't have any stats on him, so I don't know much about him. I don't know what Tennessee's going to be facing on that. He is a right-hander, which is a good thing, because lefties normally give Tennessee trouble, so they're seeing a righty. Again, that's a good thing in that regard. And looking at, like I said, Oklahoma's lineup, I just didn't see much power on it. But I saw, let's see, looking at home run totals, you had Bryce Modern, 12 home runs. That was their top guy. You had Dakota Harris, 7 home runs. Anthony McKenzie, Easton Carmichael, both 6 home runs. But where they stand out, you had, just going down the line, 15 out of 21 stolen bases for Modern. Kendall Pettis, 17 stolen bases, 23 attempts. Anthony McKenzie, 21 and 25 attempts. John Spikerman, 27 stolen bases, 31 attempts. Jackson Nicholas, 9 stolen bases, 11 attempts. So if Peebles goes Saturday night, and if Oklahoma's able to get on base some, we're going to find out quick what Cannon Peebles can do behind the plate. And again, he transferred to North Carolina State. It wasn't because he wasn't hitting, it's because he had a first-team preseason All-American in Cozart. I think it's Jacob Cozart in front of him. So he wants to catch. He's going to get his opportunities. He won't catch every single game, as Tony Vitello said, he's not going to wear these guys out. I fully expect Cal start tomorrow night against Texas Tech. And we'll see Saturday night. Could they go Stark again? I don't know that they will, but Peebles will catch some this weekend for sure. A.J. Russell tomorrow night for Tennessee. Drew Beam Saturday night. The Sunday matchups there's not a lot on them right now. There's no pitchers determined for it right now. I know Baylor last year was not a tournament team. They were 20 and 35 last year. 6 and 18 in the Big 12. Looking at their numbers, what they had, not a power hitting team. 2 guys over 300 that returned from last year. Now, you can't always go on that. Who have they added through the transfer portal? Who can help them this year? But I feel confident saying Tennessee should take care of business Sunday. Now, it'll be interesting to see because I feel you're going to see a lot of pitchers pitch on Sunday. I would venture to say you'll see at least 5 guys throw on Sunday. I don't know if they go over the top with it just because I think A.J. Russell and Beam, their performances tomorrow night and Saturday night respectively will depend on who they use out of the bullpen. If both guys are on, that's going to minimize guys coming out of the bullpen. But if they do struggle, then, they're going to have to burn more bullpen guys. Then they maybe have that guy that comes in out of the pen and eats up some innings and prevents them. But I know Tony Vitello has said they'll be happy if they get some guys their debuts this weekend. The one thing to monitor on it is that they're returning to Knoxville, whether they return late Sunday night, early Monday morning. They're right back on the field Tuesday night against UNC Asheville, and then Wednesday against ETSU. They'll get an off day Thursday, which I say off day from games. I'm sure they'll be hitting, doing their thing on Thursday. And then you're going right back into the weekend in your series next weekend. So it's here. It is here. So I've talked about those teams. Again, not much that I have on Baylor right now. I'm going to try to drop a preview of the Oklahoma game on Saturday morning and try to drop a preview maybe Sunday morning on Baylor. That way, give enough time to look at those. We'll know a little bit more on those teams after tomorrow night, after Saturday night, getting to see them play a little bit. And then, what constitutes a good weekend? My prediction is Tennessee wins all 3 games this weekend. And I feel Texas Tech and Oklahoma were both tournament teams last year. They won't be easy games by any stretch of the imagination. But I do fully expect Tennessee in Texas has a 7-2 record under Vitello in these tournaments. I fully expect they'll come out of the gates hot this weekend and pick up 3 victories. And I'm not underestimating those opponents, but I just feel like it's games, and based on the pitchers that they're facing, and if this lineup is anything like we think, I think this lineup can roll this weekend. I really do. So to me, what constitutes a good weekend, even if you drop one to Texas Tech or Oklahoma, I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think it's the end of the world if you go 1-2 on the weekend, even though it would be a disappointment. But I think a success, top notch, of course, is 3-0 on the weekend. 2-1 constitutes a good weekend. Look at your pitching. That's what we get. If we get to see a lot of guys, we get to see a lot of that potential. Some guys that maybe under the radar coming in having those big innings. I think that would be big in coming out of this weekend. And of course, that leads up to midweek and next weekend games as well. But it's just trying to fit it all in. 3 games, a whole weekend here, and we'll say about 15 minutes. But, once again, I thank you guys for tuning in with them. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I hope to see you guys tomorrow night after the game for the post game. Hopefully we'll have a lot to talk about. Hopefully it'll be a happy post game, and there'll be plenty of you in here. But as always, my name's Frank Rock, House of Orange Sports Channel. Happy Thursday. I hope you guys enjoy your Friday. And as always, go Vols.